Professor Brain Brown's research shows that vulnerability fosters good emotional and mental health. It is a sign of courage. We become more resilient and brave when we embrace who we truly are and what we are feeling. The Vulnerable Scientist podcast is a space for scientists to tell their honest and authentic stories. I am your host, Sarah Nyakeri, who happens to be a scientist, informal science communicator, and I help scientists create personal websites. If you want to support this show, go to www.patreon.com/thevulnerable-scientist. You can also follow this podcast on all social media platforms at TV Scientist Pod. And welcome to the Vulnerable Scientist podcast. This is your host, Sarah Nyakeri, who is going to be alone on this podcast. And this will be a catch-up, just a minute. I'm catching up on what's going on. It's been 3 months, officially 3 months since I had a job, paying job, or I had a source of salary. How have I been? It's been a lot of things going on in my life in this time, but I feel like today morning, actually supposed to record this episode last, when was it? I was supposed to record this episode on Friday, just to give an update because I had posted something on LinkedIn about what's going on with my mental health and all that. But today morning I had a weird, is it an epiphany? I don't know how to say that. Of what's going on with my life, and I was I just chose to be happy, and I was on an Uber drive because I was not ready to be in a space where my moods might be spoiled, because I was hoping to have a conversation later on, of which you'll see the episode, which is the coming episode with Dr. Amani. And there was sun. I hadn't seen sun for a very long time. So there was sun. I hadn't been out of the house for a long time. So I was seated at the front. Then the sun came up. I just took a picture of myself. I think that's what I'll use for the podcast cover. So many plosives. Sorry. Yeah, so I was so happy, and I remember I told someone I'm so genuinely happy, and I broke up with someone when I was that happy. I was like, I don't think this is working. I genuinely still love this person, but I don't know. I was like, I don't think things would go I don't think we will be happy in the long term. So, and it was so weird. Like, you're supposed to be crying, it's supposed to be, I don't know, but I was just happy. I was just content. I was just like, yeah, I'm happy with a few months we've been together, and that felt good. That really felt good. What else is going on? So I'm hoping to get something in comms, in psychom. As you know, I love comms. So I would like to, just from the conversation that we had to get today, I was just like, I need to get myself into comms. I need to see if this is something I can thrive in. Is this a career path that I would like to go in? So that's good news. And it's more flexible. Hopefully things will go well. So I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping that things finally materialize, and I'm able to, try my hand in comms. The other thing is someone who does a similar podcast. I don't know if I should say this. I don't know if they're supposed. Anyway, I'll leave it, but it's good news, and that's a good thing. Yeah. Let them to be the one to give those news. What else? Yesterday I was having a very bad break. I've learned it's not breakdown, it's break. What do you say? Break open. You just have a break open thing. And It was really bad. It happened after a very long time. But I had this discussion, nothing to do with what's going on with my life. I had this discussion about politics, and of late I've been following a lot of politics. I think that also has affected my health negatively in some sort of way. But it was a very nice discussion. It's like, watching a local television to people arguing, to people from different sides of the political sphere arguing about something in a very diplomatic way. It was 2 hours of conversation with someone who is way older than me, but and from this opposite gender. So that was really, really, really good. So what next? I'm hoping to do more, just to go back with the vibe that I was initially having of having more podcasts, posting more, creating different what do we call, different shows on this podcast. So the main thing about this podcast is about telling people stories and them coming in and telling the highs and lows and their journeys through science and the hobbies, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But on top of that, not like I'm putting that away because it is very important. On top of that, I want to do something else where we have topical discussions with different people, especially people who've been on the podcast before. So you can suggest to people who would like to talk about certain things that you like to talk about, certain topics. But just having we can also have some people who have not been on the podcast who can just talk about their stories, their views about certain topics that we talk about. Is it supervision? Is it business? Is it anything that encompasses being a scientist? And just different topics about life, about career, about everything that people don't necessarily talk about, but we talk about them in a long format or short format, depends. And the other thing, I would like to bring people who've been on the podcast before, especially the first initial guests who'll just come in, and because people evolve and people, change with time, how they see life depending on the experiences that they've had so far, and if they've moved to different jobs, if what's going on, what has happened since the last podcast recording. So I'd like to have a 10 minutes catch up so that we can get to to know what's going on with people's life. I find that interesting. Yeah, and the other thing is to have a monologue kind of conversation where I read out people's opinions about things, about certain topics that people discuss, especially on Twitter or Instagram or even LinkedIn, and just seeing different people's comments about certain things, and maybe just having an audio recording of what someone said and just crediting the source of that information instead of scrolling if you're not a good scroller. So it would be nice to have that information on audio recording. And something else a small thing that I would like to add on this show is having someone who comes in and talks about something anonymously, because I know there are people who would like to have their stories out there, but they're in the stage they are in life right now, they're not ready to be to put their names and faces out there of who they are. So I was about to have one last week, but I don't know, sometime back, but something came up and they had to cancel. So I was excited about that. It's like, I don't know this person. There's no knowledge. I've never heard them. I don't know. So that was exciting. This is a way to make sure that people who would like to tell their stories at this point in life, but they're not ready to give out the information of who they are, can have that luxury of telling their stories without fear that someone will know who they are. So I found that important, and that's what I also want to do. What else? I am planning to start making money out of this hobby I don't know how. I still find it hard and weird. I actually had this conversation with Access to Perspectives conversations with Joe Haveman some time back. And I think you can find that episode on Spotify or any other podcast platform, I think. And we had this conversation about, monetizing something and sometimes how weird that feels. So I've always had this Patreon link that so far has never had any funding on it. So I thought, why? And I've also had my number on the show notes on anyone who would like to support, because some people wanted to support and they wanted that. So I found myself, let me just give people, if they want to support, let them support. But now I'm becoming more, I've also tried to, work with companies who would like to advertise, of which there's so much thinking around that, and there's so much discussions around it that sometimes I feel that we don't agree with some. So I felt that I need to go into getting this seriously and getting to make it a business. The other thing that happened is I got to partner. I got to start a partnership with someone. We haven't signed it yet, but I'm in the crossroads of thinking, should we do this way or another way? I'm in that place where I'm just thinking, was it the right way to do these things? How about data protection? How about, so there's so much going on, and it's happening when I was not okay. I'm still not okay, but now I'm choosing to smile, because that's the song I was actually singing. That's what I was telling you about the Uber guy. And that's yeah, that's the song I was singing from Kirk Franklin. I don't think I'm allowed to play his music. I don't know, I didn't even read the lyrics, but I just liked the melody and tune, and it just made me feel better. So yeah, that's it. And I'm planning to monetize the skills that I've gained through handling audio and doing podcast production and all that. So there's something that might be cooking that I might get, but I am not sure, because it's not even in science, and I'm not sure if they would want someone like me, just self-doubting. But I finally decided to go for it, and for this person that I wanted that gig. So I'm in a process where I'm just trying to my hands in different things, but in the same thing, but with different people, in different spaces, in different kinds of content, but the same skills being applied in the same things, and also learning the same thing. So yeah, that's what essentially is going on. What is going on with my masters? I have not worked on my thesis for the whole time since that happened, and I don't know how I feel about that. Sometimes I am afraid that I might never do it or finish it. Sometimes I feel, maybe I should, while doing these other things as a break. And the confidence of starting that has not been there yet. I don't know what I'm waiting for though, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it since I'm putting this out there, so it's like my accountability thing. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this podcast so far. I hope you are still learning things from this podcast and from people's stories and people's experiences, and just being also reflective about your story. And in that line, I'm still in that line. I would like you, if you are a listener and you have a science background of some sort, maybe you even started a science degree and stopped on the way, and you decided, okay, I want to go through this path. I would like to hear your story. also like to hear someone who finished maybe the degree and never went into science for a particular reason, like totally out of science, or someone. I would like to hear different people who have different stories, or someone who went through into science and maybe they've retired, and I would like to hear their story of how it has been when someone went into business, like self-employed, like the people we've had so far. And I would like, to hear people from different backgrounds, different I also like to hear people from who speak in different languages, and I don't know how to do that, but I really want to do that. So I'm trying so hard to learn different languages on Duolingo, so that I can be able to have basic communication with people, and learn through conversations, and because everybody's story is important, and you connect more if it's even if you understand English, for example, and you connect more if it's in your own language. So that's basically it. And by the way, since you if you're interested to also learn, I use Duolingo. I can give you a link. I'll share it in the show notes if you would like to know more about Duolingo, and if you would like to learn a language. It's fun. It's so much fun. Yeah, so that's it. See you on the next episode. Listen to Dr. Amani's story and another person. I'm not yet able to say the name until I get a nod to publish the episodes. And the other coming episodes that are coming up, because I also have a recording this week, hopefully by someone else, and I'm not going to say the name until they give me a nod after the conversation has been made. I've had conversations with other people. We've never finished the conversation, so I cannot say who it is, and because I need their consent, an audio consent of them allowing me to publish or to even say they were on the podcast. Yes. So till next time, bye.